Hey guys, welcome to True Story Sunday. Today I'm going to tell you a story from my motorcycle trip. Happened when Mitch and I were on our way from Utah to Panama. Took that ride in 2007. We were in a small town in Honduras called Gracias. And in Gracias they have, it's like this, it's kind of just a cool little mountain village, not a whole lot going on there, sleepy little one-horse town. But they've got some hot springs kind of just outside of town, and they're nice. It's like developed. It's not in the jungle or anything. The road getting there is pretty horrible, but once you're there, there's like cement walls. You know, they've turned it into like a pool. And so Mitch and I rode our motorcycles there, and we got lost on the way because you get off the main road, and there's all these dirt roads that go weaving around. And so we could see some lights down this hill, and we asked a couple guys, "Hey, is that the hot springs down there?" And they said, "Yeah." And so we went to go back the way we had come, but they said, "No, just go down that road right there. You're on motorcycles, you'll be fine." So we started heading down this road, and it was incredibly steep and incredibly rocky. And both of us ended up dropping our bikes. It was pitch black. I mean, we were out, there's no like street lights or anything on these roads. And we ended up I remember Mitch just kicked his bike over. He was so mad. We both wanted to go back and yell at those guys. But that's rule number one. No, the locals don't know they don't understand. There's probably just these guys living in a shack. They don't understand how difficult it is to get a motorcycle down a road like that. So they're like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead. We've got motorcycles. Motorcycles are awesome. We've seen what they do in the movies." So we ended up having to help each other. Like I walked behind Mitch's bike to help him balance, and then we walked back for mine. So eventually we get to this hot springs, and there's a lot of people there. You know, it's like the place to hang out in the evenings, and some tourists show up. These two girls show up, and so we started talking to them. Cool thing about traveling is you're just friends automatically with everyone. You're all travelers. You've all got stories to share. And so we were telling them about our motorcycle trip, and they were telling us about their trip around Honduras. So both these girls are from New York, and we're just kind of hanging out with them. And then the place closes. Now they had taken like a tuk-tuk there, this little three-wheeled taxi sort of thing. And when the place closed and we went to leave, there were no taxis. And so we thought, well, easy fix there, just ride with us. We'll give you a ride back to town. But they were both, well, not both, there was one of them seemed incredibly frightened of motorcycles. Like she was deathly afraid of motorcycles, and it was like, "You're gonna walk, I don't know, 3 miles in pitch black, or you're gonna ride with us. You don't really have a choice here. You've got to come with us." It's the smartest thing to do. So she was like, "Well, who's the safest driver?" And Mitch had crashed once and sometimes dropped his KLR because he was kind of too tall for him. So we decided that I was the safest rider since I hadn't had any incidents. So she rode with me. The girl who was afraid rode with me, and she was almost breaking my ribs the whole way. She was holding on so tight, and I was like, "Hey, you gotta relax, or I'm gonna crash this on purpose just to get you off this bike." So after a mile or so, and especially once we got off the dirt, she started to relax, and it wasn't that big of a deal. But so we take them to their hostel. They were staying in a different place than us. We had like a little hotel with a protected area for the bikes, and they were just staying at this hostel. And I can't remember what time it was. It couldn't have been too late. It probably wasn't past midnight. But we go there, and they start knocking on the door, and no one answers. And we're there for like half an hour just pounding on this door, and no one ever comes and answers. So we decide we decided to take these strangers. We're like, well, you can come and stay at our place. This is nothing funny is going on here mainly because this girl that rode with me has red hair, and I've just always kind of had a problem with. I've never been attracted to girls with red hair. I don't think that makes me a bad person. Different people are attracted to different things. And a wise man, a Native American, this Indian chief that I knew in Canada once told me, whatever you do, stay away from those white women. So that's just something that I've always tried to follow closely in my life. So she was white and she had red hair, and I definitely wasn't trying to trick her into coming back to my hotel room. So we go back to our room, and I'm sleeping on like the very edge of the bed. I can't even sleep because I'm so close to the edge of the bed, because I don't want her to feel like I'm giving her any signs that I might be interested in doing something. So it's like if I fall asleep, I'll fall out of the bed. So I feel kind of bad telling this story, but I'm going to tell it anyways. So a little while, I'm not asleep. I think everybody else was. A little while later, the other girl, she gets out of bed and she walks into the bathroom, and it sounds like to me like she's throwing up. So I kind of nudge her friend, and I'm like, hey, I think your friend might be sick in the bathroom. So she gets pretty worried, and she runs in the bathroom. And apparently this girl had gotten food poisoning somewhere. She ate something or whatever, because for the rest of the night she was vomiting and going diarrhea in our hotel room. Now that's pretty disgusting, right? But the tragedy is that there was the town of Gracias was having a water shortage, and our hotel had no water. So, like, no water for the whole night. This poor girl vomited and diarrheaed in our hotel room and was not able to flush the toilet, rinse out her mouth. I mean, maybe one of us may have had like a water bottle that she could drink or something, but talk about the worst trip ever. And I remember Mitch and they were both in the bathroom. Mitch and I were just laughing about how ridiculous this was. But if I was them and I was in some strange people's hotel room who I had just met hours before, I would it'd be pretty embarrassing, you know, to go into a stranger's room and just say, hey, and then just throw up the rest of the night. So that was kind of a funny experience. I actually stayed in touch with those girls for a while, and when I went on a motorcycle ride across the United States, and I was in New York visiting my sister, I actually went to like a 4th of July party at her apartment and had a good time there.